I am the manager of a small apartment complex in the downtown area of an irrelevant city. I have seen a lot of messed up stuff over the last 3 years. Like one of those quote unquote cat ladies you only hear about in folklore. She died, and they had to have animal control take away like 30 cats. I swear to God, I had no idea she had that many. I thought she had maybe like 2 or 3. Anyway, last summer, I had another tenant who was even more fucked in the head. I can only tell you my half of the story, which, I assure you, is fucked up enough as it is. So I get a call while I'm at a bar late Friday night from one of my tenants. Apparently, they were alarmed at a decaying odor emanating from the unit next to theirs. I knew the guy living in it. He was really old, so my first thought is that the guy had died or something, and the smell was his body. Morbid, I know. I was too drunk to drive, so I had a friend give me a ride back to my place. I asked my friend if he wanted to come with me to check on the guy, and he basically told me to fuck off, and that he didn't want to see a dead body. I thought, who doesn't want to see a dead body? I guess he wasn't as drunk as I was. I told him to wait in the car for a few minutes, which he agreed to. Looking back on it, I really should have made him come with me. So I go up to the guy's door and knock a few times. Yell, "Mr. Sherman, are you okay? I'm coming in to check on you." That's not his real name, obviously. Of course, I get no response, so I unlock his door and head on in. The smell hit my sinuses like a brick in the face. I've gutted moose before, so I know a bad smell when I smell it. This was... well, it was about the same smell really. That is to say, I smelled more than enough for me to believe that there was a dead body somewhere in there. Still, I had to make sure before I called the police. I didn't want to call them on a week-old pot roast, or because the refrigerator was left open or something. So I went on exploring the apartment. I knew the layout. Most of the units are the same. So I began to search the apartment room by room, whilst holding my t-shirt over my face to keep myself from gagging. The living room, the first room you see when you enter, was surprisingly neat and clean. There were a bunch of books on a coffee table lined up in a neat stack, and the telephone was on a cabinet by the wall where it should be. Then I looked at the corner and reflexively let out a "shit" and backed up. There was a dog staring at me. It looked like a little black terrier, the Scotty kind. It wasn't growling or anything, so I thought he was just scared. Then started laughing at myself for being afraid of it. It still wasn't moving. I was a little creeped out by how much time has passed, and it still wasn't moving. I thought, nah, it couldn't be. But sure enough, it was stuffed. The dude is stuffed Scottish Terrier in his living room. Weird. I was still in a good mood at this point. Had to chuckle to myself over getting afraid of a stuffed dog. I turned to my left and walked in on the kitchen/kitchenette. The kitchen was a bit messy. I could tell someone actually used this part of the apartment. There were just a couple of knives in the sink, and the counter had some crumbs on it and stuff. I opened the refrigerator up, hoping to God that that was where the smell was coming from. Nope. The refrigerator was completely empty. It looked like the guy hardly even used the apartment. There was almost no personal belongings in the living room or kitchen, except for a couple of plates that came with the place, and the weird-ass stuffed dog in the living room. So I went back into the living room, and holy shit, the dog had moved. Actually, it didn't. There was a second dog behind the couch that I hadn't noticed at first. Still, it almost gave me a heart attack. This weirdo guy had 2 stuffed dogs in his living room, both watching in different directions. The second dog was not a terrier, by the way. It was a little Shih Tzu, or some long-haired little foo-foo dog. I don't know what they're called. Needless to say, I was, what the effing, pretty hard at this point, and my heart was beating so fast I could hear it in my ears. Anyway, I worked myself up a bit and went down the hallway and checked the closet. Nope. Empty. The smell definitely got stronger now. Next up was the first bedroom. The smell wasn't so strong in there, so I didn't think I was going to find anything. I should probably point out by now that I had turned on all the lights in the place. I wasn't stupid going around with a flashlight or something. The neighborhood is not good around here, so I'm always on guard for people jumping out and attacking me at night. So I flick on the light in the bedroom, and it's pretty fucked up. The mattress had been taken off the bed, and the sheets were all torn up. There were a shitload of holes and scratches on the wall, which were at chest level, so they were most likely from punching and or scraping with a knife or something. Most disturbingly, there was a shitload of red spots on the carpet. They looked a lot like wine stains. Remember, I was drunk, so blood was not the first thing to pop into my mind. It actually was blood. I was an idiot. All I remember thinking at this point is, forget about the deposit. This guy's going to get charged out the ass. The whole experience of being in this apartment was starting to get to me though. Every room I went into, I was half expecting to find a dead body. So I just wanted to find the source of the smell, then get the fuck out of there. So I went into the bathroom, and there was a fur carpet in there. Except, it wasn't carpet. It was like 20 different little furs all laid out on the floor. They were mostly brown and black, but there were a couple of white ones. I couldn't tell if they smelled bad, but they were definitely not the main source. I went down the hall to the second bedroom, timidly muttering stuff like, "Mr. Sherman, are you in here?" I started out in a good mood, but after getting startled that hard twice in a row, my adrenaline was going strong. Shit felt like a horror movie. Anyway, I went into the bedroom, and sure enough, there was a dead body. He was lying face down in his bed, with his knees on the floor and his pants off, ass bare and pointed straight at the doorway, at me. Anyway, I got the fuck out at that point, and told my friend in the car what I saw. Of course, he didn't believe me until the police I called showed up. I never got to see the worst part. One of the cops told me about it. Apparently, this dude was a veterinarian, and had been taking home all the dead bodies of animals he'd put down. He had made a fetish of skinning them all, and then throwing the skinned bodies into the tub in the second bathroom. I guess the first bathroom was too good for that, so that's where he kept the furs. The worst of the worst part is that the guy had died from a heart attack while jerking it, with the intestines of one of the animals. Apparently, he had a fetish of using their guts as jerk-off sleeves, and just let them pile up in the bathtub after he was done with them. In the end, the deposit, $500, didn't begin to cover the damage to the apartment, let alone the emotional damage he did to the apartment manager. Me. Yup. I hate my job.